This is Straight Talk with Atlanta native Greg Fann, the Preacher Man, and his sidekick Shanan Jones. Frank discussions of issues affecting the ATL, Fulton County, the state of Georgia, the nation, and around the world. And now, here they are, live and in living color, the team of Jones and Fann, the Preacher Man.
Well, welcome tonight to, or today, or whenever, to Straight Talk with yours to the Greg Fann, the Preacher Man, the Greg Fann, the Preacher Man. Yes, and along with Shanan. You know, Shannon's not going to be with us this week. And Shanan always talking about we're in contract dispute. We're never in contract dispute. Never in contract dispute. We cannot be in contract dispute because Shanan and I cannot have a dispute because neither one of us get paid. We do this because we love you. And the night I have with me, Miss C gonna be with me tonight, y'all. Let me just say this before we get into it, Miss C. Miss C and I, we used to do a program called A New Look in Gospel. And it was a gospel show, and what we did was showcase gospel artists. And a lot of people doing what we were doing back in the 90s, and the 90s, and a lot of people now doing what we were doing back then. And so we were kind of like trailblazers, Miss C and I. We were featuring new artists, local and national artists on our show. So Miss C and I have been doing this together for a while. So, you know, from WYZE radio station. And of course we went to high school together. We both went to Watton High. Some people say Washington High, but we truly Washingtonians said Watton High. So if somebody said they went to Watton High, you know they went to Washington High, Booker T. Telephone Washington High in the city of Atlanta, Georgia. But I'm glad to have you live tonight, Miss C. You've been on with us one time before. We did something one time before. We got to bring Miss C on from time to time. She's not a filler for Shanan. She's her own person. She's not a filler for Shanan. So don't think that she's filling in for Shanan. This is just Miss C. How you doing today, Miss C? How you doing?
I'm doing great. I'm so glad to be here with you. I'm glad that you allowed me the time to come on and just talk with our peeps a little bit.
All right. So tonight, we're going to be dealing with Lawrence O'Donnell. Lawrence O'Donnell did an interview, and he from Bob Wood's book that he did a book about Mr. What is his name? Oh, Trump, Mr. Trump. And we want to call him President Trump, but Mr. Trump.
Just call him 45.
Oh, 45. Well, 45. With 45, he did and about the secret that he and Putin had while the COVID was going on. You know, Mr. Drink Clorox. You know, to get yourself healed. Yeah, Mr. Clorox. Yeah. So he's going to talk about that. And we're going to share that with you. But don't forget now, around the world, we go around the world. And we like to say like, subscribe, make comments, and share it to our YouTube channel. And you can also send information if you got news and information you want to be on the program. See the young lady sitting next to my right or my left? Miss C, she will definitely get you on Straight Talk News 1362@gmail.com. We're going to come back with Miss C with a Straight Talk News section, and then we're coming back with more with information from Mr. O'Donnell. And we're going to talk, since I'm going to have straight talk about what's really going on. And as C say is, if you don't vote, you don't what? You don't count.
Hi, Miss C here with your 3-minute news blast, or more or less. Hey, Bishop Greg. Hey, Pastor Shanan. Y'all doing okay over there? Okay. All right. Listen, I've got a few tidbits of news I'd like to share with you. The first being Bearing Oil Ministries Fellowship International presents Tent Revival, October 25th and 26th at Divine Deliverance Life Center, 3375 Roosevelt Highway in Atlanta, 30349. The guest speakers include Pastor Daniel Latimer of the Shift Church of Atlanta on October 25th and Apostle Van Dennis of Christ Temple of Faith in Macon. That's October the 26th. Your host will be Apostle Debbie Armstrong. She's also the founder and overseer of Bearing Oil Ministries. And Chief Apostle is Dr. Ronald Harden. Okay, Pastor Brian Matthews and First Lady Della Matthews, they invite you to their 10-year wedding vow renewal and third pastoral anniversary, October 20th, 3 p.m. at the J.W. Smith Reservoir, 143 North Bridge Road in Hampton, Georgia, 30228. The guest speaker will be Reverend Emmett L. McCord. I hadn't seen you in a long time, Reverend McCord. Hope you're doing well. And listen, I also want us to pray for the people that are being affected by the hurricanes and storms. They really need our support. If you're able to donate anything through the Red Cross or some of the other charities that are holding or sponsoring collection sites. I participated in Channel 2's Convoy of Care. Me and my family donated items. And I tell you, there is no greater feeling than sharing with others and knowing that you're helping in some kind of way. So I urge you to not only pray for them, but also, if you can, if you're able to help donate to, because it's not going to just be the day of the hurricane that comes through. They've got to live after that. They've got to rebuild their lives. You know, just imagine everything that you love, like everything in this room, all of a sudden is gone. And you have to try and go on in life and pray for God's help. But those things are gone. So you have to buy new things and, you just start all over. So let's pray for them and help them out where we can. Also, I want to mention that we have been telling you about registering to vote. Well, that time has passed now. So now we're onward to the vote on November 5th. So, just remember, if you don't early vote, you have to vote on November 5th. However you vote, please vote. Okay. It is so important. And you remember that saying a long time ago, if you don't vote, you don't count. I don't hear it too much anymore, but anyway, let's do our part. Let's do our civic duty and vote. Okay. And then I have one other thing I'd like for you to do. I would like for you to like us, and I'd like for you to subscribe to us. And you can see those buttons right there on the front of the screen. I'd also like for you to leave comments. Let us know how we're doing. And also to share us. You don't have to keep Straight Talk News to yourself. Share us with everybody, family, friends, and as my former pastor used to say, in-laws and outlaws. Anyway, one other thing, if you'd like for us to announce your event, just email it to us at straighttalknews1362@gmail.com. That's straighttalknews1362@gmail.com. And we're going to see you right back here next time. I hope you have a wonderful week in the Lord, and may He bless you real good. Bye now.
Well, the breaking news of the day went from breaking news to a presidential campaign ad in record time, with the Harris for President campaign setting a new speed record today in converting breaking news into a campaign ad.
I talked to Putin a lot. I got along with him well. And I know Putin so well. I'd like to congratulate Vladimir Putin for having made yet another great deal. Did you see the deal we made?
Talk to him like that?
Oh, no, I had a very good relationship. That's a good thing, not a bad thing. And I'm trying to tell people, no, it's a good thing. When you see Putin and you see all of these people, they're at the top of their game. And I also have a very good relationship, as you know, with President Putin. And I think if we win, I think we're going to get it resolved very quickly. I really think we're going to get it resolved.
I hope we have more good relations.
We're going to have yeah, but it takes two to tango,
The Washington Post reported this morning that Bob Woodward's new book, which will be published next week, titled War, reveals that in the darkest hour of the COVID-19 pandemic in 2020, when there was no vaccine and when most people in the world, including most people in this country, could not obtain COVID tests, Donald Trump sent priceless COVID tests to Vladimir Putin for Vladimir Putin's personal use. The Washington Post's breaking news headline on this story this morning was, Trump secretly sent COVID tests to Putin during 2020 shortage, new book says. The Post reported, as the coronavirus tore through the world in 2020 and the United States and other countries confronted a shortage of tests designed to detect the illness, President Donald Trump secretly sent coveted tests to Russian President Vladimir Putin for his personal use. Putin, petrified of the virus, accepted the supplies but took pains to prevent political fallout, not for him, but for his American counterpart. He cautioned Trump not to reveal that he had dispatched the scarce medical equipment to Moscow, according to a new book by Washington Post associate editor Bob Woodward. Putin, according to the book, told Trump, I don't want you to tell anybody because people will get mad at you, not me. I don't want you to tell anybody. Donald Trump followed Vladimir Putin's advice and did not tell anyone. But that's exactly the kind of thing that doesn't stay secret forever when Bob Woodward is on the case. Vladimir Putin's intense fear of COVID-19 was on public display throughout the worst of the pandemic, with repeated photographs of Vladimir Putin sitting at the end of a comically long table, sometimes berating Russian generals at the other end of the table for their failures in his war in Ukraine. That, of course, is French President Macron, who was also once at the end of that table. The book is filled with other revelations about Donald Trump, including Bob Woodward's conclusion that Donald Trump was worse than Richard Nixon. Quote, these interactions between Trump and the authoritarian leader of a country at war with an American ally form the basis of Woodward's conclusion that Trump is worse than Richard M. Nixon, whose presidency was undone by the Watergate scandal exposed a half-century ago by Woodward and his Washington Post colleague, Carl Bernstein. Today, Howard Stern asked Vice President Harris about the big breaking news of the day.
Bob Woodward's book was saying that Trump was sending COVID tests to Putin, and Putin said, don't let anyone know. I mean, what is going on? What do you make of that?
So I actually said it even in the debate. I believe that Donald Trump has this desire to be a dictator. He admires strong men, and he gets played by them because he thinks that they're his friends.
Yeah.
And they are manipulating him full time and manipulating him by flattery.
Yeah.
And with favor. And so in the midst, to your point, as reported by Bob Woodward, in the height of the pandemic, and remember, and your listeners will remember, people were dying by the hundreds.
Yeah.
Everybody was scrambling to get these kits, the tests, the COVID test kits.
Couldn't get them.
Couldn't get them.
Right.
Couldn't get them anywhere.
Right.
And this guy who is president of the United States is sending them to Russia, to a murderous dictator for his personal use. That is just the most recent stark example of who Donald Trump is, that he secretly sent COVID test kits for the personal use of Putin, of Russia, an adversary to the United States, when he was talking about Americans should be putting bleach in their blood.
Vice President Harris began her public appearances today on The View.
Donald Trump prefers to run on problems instead of fixing problems. He's not solution-oriented. And again, I will invite people, if you really need to know how he thinks, since he doesn't do these kinds of interviews, watch his rallies. He spends full time engaged in grievance about what has happened to him.
Right.
He spends full time perpetuating lies and misinformation. He spends full time talking about fictional characters. You know, I mean,
calling, a lot of name
calling and demeaning people, belittling people. But what he does not talk about is you. He does not talk about what you need. He does not talk about what your parents need, what your children's need. That's not what he talks about. He doesn't talk about your child's needs. He talks about his needs.
Right.
And I think, again, back to the point, in this election, people are ready for a new generation of leadership that's about fixing problems. Thank you.
Well, we just heard from Mr. O'Donnell. We just heard from Mr. Trump himself about his relationship with his friend, Mr. Putin. And then we heard from Kamala Harris, VP Kamala Harris, in terms of what she feels about what he said. Oh, man, this man is something else. I mean, he just keep telling lies of the lies of the lies of the lies. And Cynthia, what do you feel about, honestly, I want to hear your feeling and views about him keeping it a secret from the American people that people who needed to have the COVID testing kit to see if they had COVID, that he would send it to his friend, Mr. Putin, and being told by Mr. Putin, don't tell nobody because it won't hurt me, but it will hurt you. But it came out.
It's not a surprise because this man lies everything about everything. It just wasn't a surprise to me because, you know, they were so chummy way back when, you know, he went over there and, you know, they looked like they were best buds to me. And so it just wasn't a surprise. And anything that he says or does, it doesn't surprise me because that's his character. Lying is his character. And I just hope that people are able to discern his spirit and know that everything he says is a lie. And he only, you know, he'll say, you know, just like with the abortion, you know, one day I heard him say, you know, he's going to, I don't know if he said he wasn't going to reverse it, but he said something totally opposite of what he had been saying about abortion. But he was only saying that just to appease those who want to hear him say that. But when he actually, if he actually had the opportunity, which I hope not, to exercise that, they're going to actually see the real person. It's not the person that we see on there talking about he's going to do this, he's going to do that. Just look at his background. Look at his track record and know that all these things he's saying are just lies. And I can't believe that anybody would believe anything he says. You know, how can you?
Anybody can you really believe anything Donald Trump says? Especially when he's talking about people, because he's only in it for himself. And everything that he's done and do and say is to benefit him. This whole running for office is really to keep himself out of jail. Himself and his son. Because his son, the text messages that his son had that clearly indicate that he understood what he was doing when in January 6th when he caused the insurrection that he did against the Capitol to try to stop people from voting. But you know, one thing that I'm proud of, though, Cynthia, is that this country is showing us that there are some people who are on the left and the right that can come together to do what's right as opposed to this country. There are some people that are standing up, and there are some ones that are not standing up, but there are some that are standing up, and that makes me feel good. Yeah.
I like that commercial that they have going for Kamala that shows all of the higher ups that are saying he is not worth voting for. Don't do it. It'll be a disaster. You know, and I try to tell the young people that I meet, young people in my house, I talk to them about why they need to vote, why it's important to vote. You may think it's only one vote, but if you take one vote here, one vote there, you got 1 million votes, you know. And so we have to express to our young people, because they're young and impressionable, that, you know, what's right is what's right, and not to buy into rhetoric and things that, if something doesn't sound right to you, you know, it probably isn't. And so you need to check it out. Don't just take somebody at face value. I remember a while back when I first started my training under you back in about 1991. You told me about don't listen to what a person says, watch what they do. And that still is true today, because you can make your mouth say anything. And that came from my mentor, Greg Fann, the preacher man. And so, you might have thought I wasn't listening, but most things you taught me, I listened to.
You just said something when you were saying about voting and every vote counts. It took my mind back when people used to say they were dropping pennies, oh, they ain't nothing but a penny, and people would run around picking up the pennies, voting off, and they would say pennies make dollars. So the same analogy that you're using in terms of voting, every vote counts. Every vote counts, and counts and count toward whether or not we're going to have a democracy or whether or not we're going to have a dictatorship. So every vote counts. It does. And I'm going to let you continue to talk because you're talking real good for somebody who didn't like politics.
I heard on the radio today they were talking about voting, and they said that there were only a few votes decided the election last time. So if you think about that, could have just been a certain section of Atlanta that turned over the election last time, and so it could be the same way this time. A few votes can make the difference. So if you think that your vote doesn't count, think again, because it does. Every vote counts, and we need to exercise that right to vote because people died, bled. I saw this. I can't think of what the movie was, but black people used to have to pay $2 to vote. $2 in the 60s and the 50s to try and vote. And so how can we just overlook what they had to go through just to exercise their right to vote? You got to pay to vote. And so, we need to think about our foreparents and what they went through, because they didn't just do it. They did it for us because they knew that they were praying that a better day was coming, and the better day is here. And we've got to keep that better day going and make it an even better day.
I think there's an education piece that's missed for people, black people, is that when Congress passed that Voting Right Act, that gave us the privilege to vote. That act has to be voted on every so many years. So whoever is in office, they can vote that say that we don't have the right, the privilege to vote, because we don't have the right to vote. We have a privilege because of that Voters' Right Act. John Lewis was trying to get them to change and put something back in there to make sure that we have the right to vote. But this whole thing that is happening now is we're looking at Project 2025, where they're trying to cut out all these things, voter protection, and all these things that we now enjoy and we now have. People need to wake up and see. And I want to move back to these lies that he's telling, the lies about the cats, the Haitian people eating cats. And this most recent lie that the Democrats, now this has to be for men and women of faith, true faith, who really believe in a higher power. What do you call him, Yahweh? What do you call him, God? Whatever you may call him, but you believe in a higher power, that you would believe a man that would say to us that a certain party called the Democrat Party, I'm neither Democrat nor Republican, I can tell you that right now. I'm not for any one party. I'm for the issue. I'm for people. I'm for people being treated fairly and rightly and just. That's who I'm for. So if you for that, I'm for you. No matter what your party affiliation is, Republican, Democrat, Independent, Green Party, whatever party you want to have, be affiliated with. If you for that, then I'm for you in terms of how I vote. Now, what I'm saying now is that his man is saying that the Democratic Party, for somehow, some way, can change where the tornadoes are going to go, where the people, states are going to be destroyed, where the cities are going to be destroyed. I mean, oh man, Mother Nature is crying out right now. You can't fool with Mother Nature. I mean, no one can fool Mother Nature. I saw this thing that a friend of mine sent. I'm gonna call his name Paul Marr. Paul Marr sent this thing out. You know, he's with CBC in Florida, and Paul sent this thing out with, he had 2 tractor trailers, right? And the tractor trailers went, and they asked, this was the driver asked the question, where do you want us to deliver this weather to? Where do you want us to deliver this weather to? I mean, good God, I mean, how crazy can you? It was one thing people eating the cats and the dogs, the Haitians, but then they're claiming that people are doing this with the weather because what they want to do is kill the Republicans from being able to vote, and they're not doing right by FEMA. They're not treating people right, and they're the party that won't come back to increase the money for FEMA, and Democrats and Joe Biden, they're doing whatever they can. You hear governors in those states who are Republican governors even saying that they're helping us. They're doing what they're supposed to do. We're being helped, but they're saying, oh no, they're giving the money to the foreign. They're getting the money to the people who are coming in. The immigrants are getting all the money. That's who's getting the money. That's why they can't do what they need to do for you, because the money goes. And people are buying into that lie. They're buying into that lie. Come on now, get real. You're talking about human beings, human life, human suffering. Him and Marjorie Taylor Greene. Marjorie tell a lie. She's in the boat with him too. Marjorie will tell a lie. Marjorie will tell a lie, a big lie too. Okay. So, I mean, but the reality of it is what we're seeing today is that, you know, you're taking people's life, people's livelihood, people home, their health, and all the things, and using it as a pawn to try to get reelected by saying what all you're going to do once you get there. But we've seen what you'll do once when you were there, so we know what you'll do, and we're hearing you still yet telling lies. Can you believe anything that Donald Trump says other than he's going to look out for himself and the rich? You can believe that, because that's exactly what he's going to do. Look out for his buddies, the Putins, the cheese, and those people who are dictators, because that's who he is. And I think that Kamala said it best when she said this. She said that he gravitates to strong men, but he doesn't realize that he's being used by Putin and those individuals for their own personal interests. And he's being used, and he's thinking that he can control them, but yet he's a puppet for them. Oh, help me somebody. But I'm going to start the preaching. I'm going to leave that alone. I'm going to yield to give you the floor.
I just want to jump in here. I want to kind of change the topic for a minute.
Sure.
We are observing Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and I have on my cancer shirt that says "Stand Up to Cancer." I just wanted to remind people, if you can get involved with the American Cancer Society, they have walks going on, donations are needed. And, you know, you might not know what the donations are used for. They're used, and I didn't know until I had cancer. It's not only used for research, but they provide services, you know, like a card to a shopping card to Aldi's, where you can go buy groceries, transportation. They provide wigs for women that have lost their hair due to chemo, and just a lot of other things. And when I was going through, and have gone through 3 times, but only one time did I go to the Cancer Service Center, and there you have arts and crafts, you have exercise, yoga, you have a lot of things, and people don't know what you need until you've been through it. You need all of those elements just to kind of make you whole again. So if you can donate to the American Cancer Society, support the walks, and support them in any way, have a drive at your church or something, you can help a lot of people get through their cancer treatments and live again. And so on the 4th Sunday, we're having our Breast Cancer Awareness Observance Sunday, and we're going to be recognizing our survivors, and that's at Flipper Temple AME. And so I just wanted to just invite everybody to get involved with the American Cancer Society, and they have a website. You can go to the AmericanCancerSociety.org and just look at all the resources they have.
Well, thank you so very much, and we need to have men's understand too. Men need to be checked. As we're talking about breast cancer, we're talking about men who are experiencing breast cancer too. So don't be ashamed, man. Don't be ashamed. You need to get checked. You need men. See, one thing, men are a little stubborn, hard-headed. They think they're invincible. They're gonna live forever. They have a pain. They don't. Ooh, that pain gonna go away. But that pain comes back, and it keeps coming back, and it keeps coming back, and you need to get yourself checked out. You need to get checked out. And
why do you think you have a hard time accepting that? Is it learned from growing up, or after you get to be an adult? Why do men think like that?
I think men think like that, which I'm not one of those men. It's quite naturally. I have a girlfriend or wife, and that'll tell you if I stump my toe, I'm going to the doctor. I was at the doctor today. I'm going to the doctor. I'm not one of those men. So, but I could tell you just by the mere makeup of men. You know, in the era, especially in the era we came up with the cowboy movies and the strong men and the strong this and men don't supposed to cry, men don't supposed to hurt, men don't supposed to feel. We're always supposed to be strong because we're men. So we figure that we can handle this and we can handle that. So, you know, it's a little pain, but it'll be all right. It's a little this, but it'll be all right. And then we don't like to tell our spouses or significant others what's going on with us. And many men have left here and their wife didn't even know, or their significant others didn't even know they had that ailment or that sickness because they never told them, or when they did tell them, it was at the point of almost death before they found out about it. So I say that, so all men, young men and old men, go get yourself checked out. Get checked out for prostate cancer. Get checked out for colon cancer. Get checked out even for your eyes. Go get your eyes examined. You know, many people don't even go get their eye checked annually each year. You know, and I mean these are things that we need to do because the body is just like an automobile. You know, you got wear and tear on this body over the years, and so you need to go and get yourself checked for preventative care, right? And not treatment for a problem. Try to prevent the problem before it becomes a problem. Yeah. Right.
Prevention is much better than treatment. And I've always tried to be at the forefront of my health. I must say that when I was diagnosed with cancer the first time, I was very surprised, shocked, in disbelief because I always ate well. You know, I grew up in a household where you had to eat your vegetables, and you had to do the right thing. And I took vitamins, I exercised, and everything, and I just could not believe it. And so I eventually had to accept it, and I've been through it 4 times, and I can tell you each time it was because I had they caught it early. And when you catch it early, it's more treatable than if you wait, because sometimes you get to stage 4 and there's nothing they can do. So always try to catch it early.
And do, by all means, and I'm speaking to not only men but women too, this is Breast Cancer Awareness Month, but it ought to be Health Month. Check yourself out. Check yourself out. Well, Cynthia, you know, it's always a plum-pleasing pleasure talking to you and having you on the program because, our chemistry, we have good chemistry. We have good chemistry over the years in terms of doing things and programs and those kinds of things. But you don't know anything about sports. You don't know anything about sports, that's for sure. So that's me and Shanan thing. But I got to throw this out. And Shanan, y'all make sure y'all tell Shanan this. Shanan predicted last week that his Falcons were going to win and my Steelers was going to lose. Well, he was correct. I give credit what credit is due. He predicted that his Falcons would win and my Steelers would lose. And he was absolutely right. Cowboys beat the Steelers at the end of the game, and they won. And the Falcons won. Lost. The Cowboys won, and the Steelers lost, and the Falcons won, and Tampa Bay lost. But let me just say this. We got a lot of football to go. We're getting ready for basketball. That season started on the 25th. And the WNBA, they're in their playoffs now. Boy, you got baseball going on at the same time. We got a lot of sports events going on. When we come up like, Reggie Jackson, Mr. October, right? We would be playing the World Series now. They still planning to play out to see who's going to be in the World Series. They're like the World Series won't be played now until February. We got so many football teams now. We got to watch them on streaming now. Peacock and PRMon and YouTube, all these channels. Lord have mercy.
But let me tell you, you say I don't know nothing about football. Yeah, I know Patrick Mahomes. I know Russell Wilson.
Oh, you know?
I know.
Okay, let me ask you a question. You said you know them. Who did Patrick Mahomes play for?
The Kansas City Chiefs.
Okay, who did Russell Wilson play for?
I don't have a clue. All I know is that I just like to see him. I like to see him run that ball.
Well, let me tell you right now, Russell Wilson is now playing for the Steelers, and he is not running the ball. He's had too many injuries. Jason Fields is running the ball for the Steelers. You just know names.
That's it. That's what I was hoping you'd catch on. I know names. I know.
Were you over there? Oh, wait a minute. Are you over there Googling them?
No, just seeing them on Sunday is good enough for me. And when I get out of church, I fix my dinner and I turn on wherever the Falcons are, whatever channel they're on. I turn that on, and then after that, I just look at whatever else come on.
After you wake up from falling asleep. After you wake up from having fallen asleep.
Right. And in the past, I knew Drew Pearson, Tony Dorsett.
Oh my God. Jesus, who did they play for?
Dallas Cowboys.
All right then. Oh, you do know a little something, don't you? A little something. Yeah. But I know Asen, I know you watch the game until you fall asleep and wake up in the fourth quarter. Hey, ladies and gentlemen, this ain't did nothing but straight talk around the world with my friend and my co-host, Cynthia Waters, Miss C. We call her Miss C. That's who she is. She is Miss C. Well, Miss C, you know what I didn't do? And I should have done this, Miss C. And I apologize to you, Miss C, for not doing this. And I purposely wanted to do this. I wanted to let them know who you were. You are Miss C, right? That's who you are.
Did I told them in the beginning?
I told them in the beginning you were Miss C. Yeah, but I wanted them, always Miss C. They got to see Miss C. They got to see. They got to see Miss C. That's who she is, Miss C. Hey, listen, this ain't been nothing but straight talking around the world with George Greg Fann and the Preacher Man and Miss C. And Miss C gonna be joining me more and more, me and Shanan, because it look like she know a little bit about sports.
I tell you one other thing I know about sports.
What?
I know two more things. I know when they make a touchdown. I know when they make a field goal.
Good for Miss C. Go, Miss C. She knows a little something. Well, listen, until next time, tune in to Straight Talk with yours to the great fan, the Preacher Man, Shanan E. Jones, and Miss C. Don't forget to like us. Don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to make comments. And don't forget to share on our YouTube channel. And if you'd like to be a guest, all you got to do is go out to Straight Talk News 1362@gmail.com. This ain't been nothing but what? Straight Talk.
Want to be a guest on Straight Talk? Email Greg Fann at FA FANN922 at Comcast.net or call 404-308-0795. Join us again for another episode of Straight Talk with Shanan Jones and Greg Fann, the Preacher Man.